It's Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross. Tonight, Leslie Hoban Blank joins me for reviews of Race, A Little Night Music, and A View from the Bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Two on the Aisle. Good evening, I'm Charles Gross. And again, welcome to Two on the Aisle.
Blake.
Yes, could we see Leslie? Yeah, there we go. There you are. Knew you were here somewhere.
I'm here.
How are you, Leslie?
I'm terrific, Charlie. Thank you.
Okay. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Let's move on to something that's been, this is the first revival on Broadway of A Little Night Music. Now this is Stephen Sondheim, Hugh Wheeler show from the 70s, or as many Sondheim affectionates would say, the Hal Prince period, because Hal Prince did pretty much every show from, I think, Company to Merrily We Roll Along that Sondheim wrote. He did not direct this. This is Trevor Nunn directed it. And the first thing I should say is Angela Lansbury does not sing Send in the Clowns.
Well, I don't imagine anybody thought she did. But
I would say anyone who was not familiar with this play,
I see, would have thought
and
that
I would
was
say
her.
that's most people, would assume that that's the case. She does not. Catherine Zeta-Jones sings Send in the Clowns. Now this is based on a film on the
by Ingmar Bergman.
By Ingmar Bergman.
Ingmar Bergman film.
And it's
Smiles of a Summer Night. Yes.
Yeah, I guess for
film.
lack of a better term, I guess it's a sex farce, because you have a man who's married to a woman half his age.
No, well, I'm not disagreeing with you. It
Right.
is a sex farce, no
Okay.
question.
Okay, and then you have Lansbury, who's really, I thought that when she did Deuce a couple of years ago, that was the last we were going to see of her on Broadway.
Well, then we caught her in High Spirits, where
she is the busiest actress on Broadway.
Absolutely. Well, there's something to be said about this. Christopher Plummer, also in his 80s, is doing magnificent work. You don't chuck these people out if they can still do it. They should be given the parts.
I'm happy I was wrong.
Still do it.
I'm certainly happy I was wrong. And this is a bit more relaxing for her. I mean, in her last play, that was Blithe Spirit, she had to dance all around the stage.
But she was wonderful. She did a fantastic. She made that dance up,
Right.
by the way. That was her own chicken dance.
Right. Now, she didn't, though she did not ride the bicycle.
No, that's true.
But here, she gets to spend the whole thing mostly in a wheelchair,
Right.
so it's a little more relaxing. She plays Catherine Zeta-Jones' mother, and she is also the guardian of her granddaughter, who's Zeta-Jones' daughter. Zeta-Jones basically plays a very flamboyant actress. Lansbury plays a woman who has basically made her way by procuring different lovers.
She's a courtesan. There was a name for these people. She was a courtesan, yes.
And she's essentially, her granddaughter, who I think is 12, is basically in training, not that she's actually had any, shall we say, field experience at this point that we know of.
It kind of reminds me of Gigi in that sense, where you had Hermione Gingold playing a woman of the same kind with her young granddaughter also doing this sort of thing.
But here they had to be a little more subtle when Gigi was made. Here they're very blatant about what...
wasn't very subtle in Gigi either. I mean,
actually, now that, you're right. You know
it was
what,
quite out there. But the idea is, what's so interesting is, the character that we're not talking about, of course, is the one that Catherine Zeta-Jones plays, and she's the character who does sing "Send in the Clowns."
Right.
And she's a wonderful, overblown actress who's madly in love with a man who's married.
Right.
And it's
to a
not
woman
about
half his age.
right?
And he has a son who is studying for the priesthood.
Yes. All of this stuff rife with
and a maid who's also a very let's see,
Buxom.
willing maid. Let's put it that way.
Or as they said in Funny Thing That Happened on the Way to the Forum, everybody ought to have a maid.
Yes.
But that being said, what's really intriguing is the way Trevor Nunn did this. It is a sex comedy. Woody Allen did his takeoff on it with everything, Smiles of a, what was it?
Well, didn't he have a Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy, I think?
Which was based on, it was the same source material.
Right.
What I think is really interesting here, and I have seen revivals of this in London. I saw Judi Dench play the character.
The Angela Lansbury character.
No. That's the amazing thing. She played Desiree.
She played the Catherine Zeta-Jones.
The Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I'm assuming this was not recent.
It was in the 90s, and it was very funny because when he has a line that says, "I'm so glad she's not fat," she looked like a refrigerator in a dress. Which was so sad, but she is Judi Dench, and the British lover, and she can do whatever she wants. So but Trevor Nunn being a British director, I thought I was going to see something similar to that one. Instead, what I found really fascinating about this was this was from beginning to end, there was an overlay of what the director wanted about this. It's all very dark colors, except for the Desiree outfit. It's all dark in the first act and light colors, the white dresses in the second act. It's particularly, it's style over substance completely in this particular incarnation
But
of
it
the
works
play.
because I think for this play, and this is the first time I've ever seen it actually.
Oh.
But I think style is something you need here. I think there is enough substance in the play. The characters are interesting. The story is fun on it. I mean, it gets for something like this. I think it's handled very tastefully. The score has some wonderful songs. "Send in the Clown" is probably one of Sondheim's, probably his most famous song. And Catherine Zeta-Jones, I don't think she's any great shakes in the singing department, to be honest, but she does, to my surprise, pull it off.
Well, the original who sang it was Glynis Johns, who also wasn't any great shakes in the singing department. It's a Songsprech. It's something where you're allowed to speak and sing at the same time,
Right,
so that works.
but she has her, she can.
And she's a better singer.
She can hold a tune, and she does. She had a certain presence and a certain, way of acting it out that just worked very nicely, both for the song and for the character. And as I was saying, it also has songs like "A Weekend in the Country," "The Butcher's Son," but also several numbers that, for lack of a better term, fit the Sondheim stereotype, and not in a good way. The overly technical, the overly sounds like he was putting a puzzle together type tunes in the song.
I think this is one of his shows that, from beginning to end, I think the songs suit the material, and I think that they are. Some of them are almost operatic in scope, and I find that to be fascinating. Some of the ones where the four couples come out and they dance, or where the three couples are walking around
at the beginning.
At the beginning, and they do the introductions. There are, other than the two names that we've named, there's no one that I recognize in this play. Or there is one person. You've grabbed the playbill, so I can't find it. But no, I was going to just say the young lady playing the wife.
Unversed, she'd strike you as unenlightened.
No, I'd strike her first.
Her reticence, her apprehension.
Her crust.
No.
Yes.
No.
Frederick.
You must meet my wife.
Let me get my hat and my knife.
What once was a rare champagne is now just an amiable hock. What once was a villa at least is digs. What once was a gown with train is now just a simple little frock. What once was a sumptuous feast is figs. Not even figs. Raisins. Ah, liaisons.
Don't you love fuss? My fault I feel. I thought that you want what I'd want. Sorry, my dear. And where are the clowns? Quick, send in the clown. Don't bother. There.
A weekend in the country, our music on a lively stroll. A weekend in the country, as we're losing our control. A weekend in the country, so inactive, everyone has to lie down. A weekend in the country, where we're twice upset and twice as 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 upset
I have to correct myself. The song that I mentioned before is The Miller's Son, not The Butcher's
Miller's
Son.
Son.
Yes.
And I have to correct myself because that wasn't the daughter that I was thinking of. It wasn't the wife, rather. It was the Countess, which is a lovely role and played by Erin Davy, who was in Grey Gardens.
Whose husband is very openly having an affair with the Catherine
yes,
Zeta-Jones character.
very much so, very much
and
so.
basically, it's all tied up very nicely at the end. It's kind of, if you like a happy ending, you'll enjoy what happens here, and you'll also enjoy what happens when they're getting there. It's a solid revival. I had a wonderful time.
It's a very, specifically though, it's a director's show. I mean, Trevor Nunn has his stamp all over the show, and I thought that was really, we don't see too many musicals that have that kind of a color scheme that follows through. I haven't seen that since 9. You know, where
the originals, the Tommy
original
tune,
9,
yeah,
where they were so specific about what everyone wore.
But I think what people will notice more, you know, especially if you have not seen the show before, they're simply going to see a very solidly done show, a well-acted show, a score that, for the most part, holds up beautifully. And I think they're going to have a really good time.
Yeah, I think I haven't heard anything about it not doing well. So as far as I know, it's
well.
doing
That's
pretty
good
well.
because
That's
we've
good.
certainly had our share of shows this year that were very critically acclaimed.
I know.
Ragtime.
Ragtime is the one I think about. Yeah.
Brighton Beach Memoirs, and are gone. I think part of it is certainly you have 2 big names in this show, 3 if you count Sondheim, and we're in a period now where less shows are opening. I think part of the problem with Brighton Beach is so many shows were opening at that time that it was just too hard for the audience to keep up.